Thank you all for joining. Today is really about launching our AI features. We already announced them yesterday. We had a couple of you in the betas, a couple of the past weeks. And now, we are rapidly evolving and launching them. And today is really about sharing how to use them, how to set them up, what you can do with it, what you can't do with it, and then also answering any questions you have around them. I will go through it pretty quickly, given we have like 45 minutes and also don't want to keep too much of your attention span. So feel free to ask any questions, interrupt me with the chat if you have anything that you want to ask. I'm very happy to answer questions in between. Otherwise, we can also go in the end and just do a bit of Q&A. First of all, a few slides. So this will be very fast, but what have we actually released and also where this is going. As a quick intro, there's two big new releases that came out yesterday. The first is our AI agent within the platform got connector support. That means it can connect to your services and it can do tasks and external services for you. When we started Valuecase, what we really wanted to do was bringing all the different tools that you use with your customers into one place, like all the email threads, the spreadsheets that you use for tracking, all of these things, Notion boards, whatever it is, into one place, into a shared space. And now with AI and with the agent that we have, we are also able to connect to external services and do actions there to bring things even more together. And this should really speed up how you work on Valuecase and also has a lot of potential for the future. So that's what I want to show you a bit today and how you use and set that up. And then we have the MCP. That might be the more exciting one even for many of you. And we saw a lot of usage already on that part of the release. So you can connect Valuecase to Claude, to ChatGPT and other services that support MCP, so Model Context Protocol, right? And use it in your agentic flows as well. And I will show you today, probably at first, that's where I will go at first, how to use that in Claude, how to set that up, what you can do with it, with a demo account, and we really can play around and share a few use cases. Also, we are rapidly expanding the feature set there. So our MCP launched with a couple of tools, meaning it can write a few things, it can read a few things in Valuecase, but it will very, very quickly get more capabilities. In fact, I was already in a meeting today with the team on that. We are already planning the next steps for it, and we'll probably release over the next few weeks, like update after update after update, based on your feedback. For all of these features, because AI is so different from a product perspective for us, right? You can do anything, you can put anything in the prompt box. We really want to know your use cases, what you do with it, and that really would help us a lot in shaping these features going forward. So if you have anything in mind that you want to share, any use cases in mind that might not be possible yet, we would love to hear them. And then there's a third leg to our AI strategy, which is our AI automations. And this is coming soon. This is really about putting our AI agent into the workflows that we have in Valuecase to do further automations. So imagine that prompt box you have on the left side in your editor, just automate it. And this is where the agentic strategy for Valuecase will end up. So this is three-legged, but we will talk about the first two legs today, and then very soon about the agents here too. Okay, next slide. And again, this will be quick. This is a quick hint for our website. If you click on resources on our website, you will find a lot of use cases. We have a category AI agent use cases. That's not only for SEO, we also have that to help you adopting the technology. So if you click there, especially in the automate and the AI assisting categories, you will find a lot of example prompts and a lot of tips to use the different features that we have. So you can just copy it and try it out. And I think it just helps you a bit getting creative with the prompt box. So that's the use cases. Again, just click on resources on the website, and then you will find the AI agent use cases. Not seeing the slides, Duncan. Anyone else having that problem, not seeing the slides, or do you see the slides? Just to figure out on which side. Okay. Okay, thank you for the feedback. So Duncan, maybe it's the screen size, maybe it's the wrong tab, but if there's a problem, there should be a recording automatically done here. And I can also share the slides afterwards with you, so you can get them. We'll do that. Hopefully it will fix over the next few minutes for you. Okay, I wanted to quickly go into the MCP part. Perfect. I want to go quickly in the MCP part just to show you an example of how we use it. We have many use cases on the platform. Some of you are using us for customer onboarding, other of you using us for digital sales rooms, many of you for both. We also have employee onboarding and so on. So Valuecase is by now grown to such a big solution that it's tough to show all use cases, but this one for customer onboarding is one that we build internally with our MCP. And our MCP allows you to get progress data from Valuecase, allows you to create spaces and a few other things. And what runs every morning for us is a customer onboarding check. And we build a skill basically in Claude, and I will show you that later how you can do that. We build a skill that is very custom to our workflow. And I just asked Claude to sanitize all the customer names, but this is actually real. And it goes into Valuecase, it figures out the status of the different projects. But then we also in the skill said, okay, go to mix panel and find product activity, go in these other sources, check the calendar if we have a meeting or so, check the tasks in Valuecase, what is overdue. So it gets all these data sources and builds a reporting for us. But then it can also build the chasing emails, the follow-up comments, and things like that to really help us moving the onboardings forward. It takes us from having to go into Valuecase and going through the different accounts and understanding what's going on to a very concise briefing every morning that we can just act on, and Claude will do the drafts already. So we just have to say yes, no, adapt a few things, and then we are done. Now, skills like these can really, really speed you up in the work, and you can share them with the team. And while I will show you a couple of basic use cases today, this is really where a lot of the magic is, right? Templatizing your workflows, sharing them internally with the team, packaging them as skills. And if you need any help doing that, just let us know. We have a lot of experience by now. But I just want to show you what we do, for example, which is this onboarding progress review. And how this works, just will quickly share the skill. How this works, I had to sanitize a few things, but this is the skill that's behind it. So you can, Yasmin, I will, we have probably a couple ones. We're currently preparing a pack, and I will share that as soon as it is ready. So this Valuecase AI skill that we used here, and you can screenshot that. And again, we can also share the slides. Is the one that we use to create these onboarding reports. And this is quite cool because it has so many sources. It really does 6 steps with a lot of different data points to figure out how the onboardings are running. And you can also ask Claude or ChatGPT to build these skills for you, which is quite magical. And then just do your workflow and ask it to adapt the skill. And by that, you get through quite a lot of actions, and you will have in the end a very, very good result. And you can just shape your workflow over time. So I would really encourage you to package your Valuecase workflows into these skills instead of always starting with the empty prompt box. Has everyone here worked with skills already? Or is that topic kind of unfamiliar? Put it in the chat. So we'll go over that in the next couple of minutes. Unfamiliar. Okay, Tony, that's good to know. Benjamin, good. Yes, skills. What is in the end, what it is, to be honest, it's just a safe prompt, so to say, but it saves the workflow. And then something like Claude and also ChatGPT, as far as I know by now, you can schedule these to run as well. And you can use them with the / command. So it's really about saving your prompt, saving your workflow, and having the AI going through a predictable flow and a very clear flow. So you don't start with the prompt and just say, give me the Valuecase progress. You can just say / customer onboarding progress review, and it has all this stuff in the backend and already knows what to do. So you teach your AI over time to do what you want and really mirror the workflow that you have. Cool. So on feedback, just to briefly mention that, and then I go into Valuecase and show you around, and into Claude and show you around. We have a couple of ways to give feedback on the AI, and I said in the beginning, that's very important for us to know. First of all, we have the chat in the platform. If you have any feedback, let us know there. There's different people seeing that, so it's always very helpful for us to have. The other one is if you're using our AI in the platform, we have the thumbs up and thumbs down. I think, Tony, in your team, this has been used quite a bit. We really love to see that. That really helps us troubleshooting if there are any errors or any problems. And if you press the thumbs up or thumbs down, we will get a notification and we can act on it. And then finally, if you want to share feedback via email, you can do that as well. Here's my co-founder's email, Niklas. So if you have bad feedback, just send it there. And you can send anything that doesn't work for you. Okay, so far so good. And then let's jump into Claude. And I will just quickly switch the screen here. So imagine some elevator music going on. Stop sharing. Now I will share a fresh Claude with you, not a filled one, so we can really start from scratch. Let's see. Are you using, maybe put that in the chat if you're using Claude or ChatGPT. That would be very interesting for us to know as well. Or maybe some other AI tool, maybe using Gemini, maybe using Copilot. Put that into the chat and we can maybe also go into different directions here. I'm a bit of a Claude user, but it really doesn't matter for our connector. Oh, a poll. Nice. Let's see. All right. Okay, Claude, that's good for me. Makes my life a bit easier here, but ChatGPT works really, really similar. It's just that the MCP ecosystem, so the connector that we launched, which is an MCP server, originally that was brought to life by Anthropic, the company that built Claude. And now it's in an open source, it's in the Linux Foundation, I think. So everybody is using that standard, and OpenAI does too. But that's where it came from. That's why it's a bit more typical to have these things in Claude. Anyways, I'm in Claude here. I hope you see. Yeah, Graham, that's interesting as well. I think with Copilot, just to maybe mention that briefly. So with Copilot, as far as I know, I'm not a Copilot user myself, but as far as I know, for MCPs, you have to go through Power Automate. That might be outdated knowledge, but I've researched that a couple of weeks back. So I'm not sure if you know. If you know, please put it in the chat how to connect the MCPs. That would be very interesting for us as well. Yeah, so it's Copilot Studio. Got it. That's very helpful, and because it works a bit differently there, but in the end, they all use the same kind of connector in the backend. All right, the first step to do, if you've not connected Valuecase, is go to valuecase.com/MCP. And that's where you will find the instructions of how to set that up, and you can just put that into your browser. And you will find the MCP URL here, and then in Claude, you can just click on Customize. You would go to Connectors, and then you can click here, Add Custom Connector. We are currently working to get into this App Store here as well, so we are already pushing that forward. But for now, it's a custom connector. You would put in a name here, and I would recommend doing just Valuecase, and then the copied URL from Valuecase/MCP you would put in here. That looks like this, and then you just click Add. I've already set this up here, so I won't add it now, but if you add it, you will be asked to authenticate, just log in with Valuecase, and then you're there. In the end, your MCP should look something like this. These are the tools that it has access to, the write tools and the read tools. Now, let me go to Claude and just kick it off. What I would really recommend, you can start in chat or in Cowork. It doesn't matter so much. Cowork is a bit nicer for me because it can do multiple tasks better at the same time. What you can do very nicely, let's go to Opus here. Let's use always the most capable model. What can you do with Valuecase? So what I would really recommend, especially if you're like starting with an MCP server with a connector, instead of having to think through all the tools and so on, you can just ask Claude what it can do. And it will give you like a quick summary. And then you can also ask it for use cases. So you can say, I'm working in customer onboarding and use Valuecase for that. What are great use cases? You can ask it for use cases, for workflows, and for ideas on how to use it, which is pretty solid and gives you a good first understanding of how to use the MCP. In the end, I'm now connected to my Valuecase account, so I can do a lot of things. Interesting now that it gives me onboarding use case. Interesting. So this is not perfect. Let's say it like that. So I would just say, because this is now Valuecase use cases, no, I mean use cases for the connector. It worked before, but this is how it is with AI. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. All right, so this is better. Audit a customer onboarding, spot a risk onboarding, spin up new spaces, template Q&A, portfolio overview, ground content, real data. So all of this are good use cases to start with. And now you could even go, if you want to build your own skill, you could say, hey, let me start with this kind of portfolio overview use case and build a skill for that. And then it can ask you questions and it can really guide you through the process of mapping your workflow. And over time, you can improve it. And by that, build out your workflow. So this is how I would recommend starting. Just go into it and ask it, hey, what can I do with this? And as soon as you're there, let me just go to view all because I have a few archive tasks here already. As soon as you're there, you can do, for example, things like this, which I use the skill for, the custom onboarding progress skill, and I will do that manually in a second. And as you can see here, it went into Valuecase, it got like space summaries, it understood which spaces are overdue, which have a problem, and really did a lot of tasks and said, okay, I have 3 active spaces, 1 is overdue, 1 deadline in 4 days, and gives me this very neat summary, which just uses Claude's internal tools, which I find pretty amazing that you can build these on-demand interfaces inside the product. And it also drafts the email for the follow-ups. And this is all grounded in Valuecase data, which is amazing, right? So you can build out your custom reportings and so on. The thing with this is this can run for, of course, a while. And that's why I didn't want it to do it live immediately, and can run a couple of minutes sometimes, depending on the complexity you have in your account, just because Claude needs to crunch a lot of data. That's why I do it this way. I usually schedule these tasks. So I would go in and say, new task, and create really a scheduled task that does this every morning. And this is how we operate it internally, meaning if your computer is on, you would just see the summary in the morning. If you're using ChatGPT, you can use the agents for that as well that are launched in ChatGPT. They can even be connected to Slack and can give you a summary every morning. And this just puts it on autopilot, and you don't really have to think about it. So if you're thinking about your workflow and these automation versus on demand, I always recommend start on demand, try it out, but then automate it, run it on schedule. As long as you don't crush your tokens, then it's all fine, and it basically comes for free. And this is one of the use cases here. So building progress summaries, understanding where things are, build your custom reportings basically, and your on-demand reportings. And then the second use case I just wanted to briefly show is also creating spaces. Can I just get a quick poll? Maybe Niklas, you can help me setting that up. Who's using Valuecase for which use case? So is it primarily onboarding, or is it primarily sales? That would be very interesting, because then I can also tailor a bit what I show depending on what you have. Perfect. See already the chat messages coming in. Let's see. Sales was coming. Very good. Of course, if you ask me, I would always recommend to use it for both. But let's see what we get here. So we have one answer for onboarding. This is now live user research. This is amazing. Getting a couple of answers. Thanks all for participating, by the way. I really appreciate that we have the polls filling. Okay, so it's a bit split. That is as expected. So I will show both use cases a bit and give you ideas for both. The second thing I wanted to briefly show as a potential use case for the MCP is creating spaces. For now, the MCP really can read a lot of data, but it can only write for now new spaces. That's it, but we are adding new write actions very, very soon. So you will be able to write comments most likely very soon, archive spaces, change internal properties if you're using the Kanban board, and a couple of other things. So we will extend this very, very quickly. But as the first version, you can mainly create spaces with it. And here you see that I asked it to create a digital sales room for Tailor, big German company, I think like a unicorn, for a bit of time now. And what is so cool about these workflows is, yes, of course, I can create a space, and I could do that in Valuecase. However, because this Claude is also connected to my Google Drive, I can ask it to get my latest meeting transcript and then tailor the sales room. And in the sales room template, we have what is called placeholders, so properties, and these are in there, and the AI can fill it by itself, meaning it has a property like situation or like by Valuecase or so, and the AI can fill it for me and can basically tailor the full thing. And we can run this in a second again. We can show you how that works. And so this is a good example. Let's try that out. I think I can just go with it and see what it does, because this is one of my favorite use cases personally. I think especially when it comes to like tailoring spaces and customizing the content, this really has like a lot of legs in just speeding you up a ton, but also improving the way you use our platform by quite a bit. So now it will start, it will just understand the tools and so on. The thing here is this is now on demand, so just put it in the prompt box. Over time, if you use this a lot, you will also want to build a skill for it to just add a lot more detail for the AI, what it needs to do. But that's a bit more advanced and not needed. All right, so it found my meeting transcript in the Google Doc. Let me read it, get template space properties. So what it does here, because the space properties are custom for this template, it needs to know which space properties it needs to fill. Now it finds the template it needs to use, and then it will just create the space based on all of this. And we can review that in a minute. And yeah, I would love for Anthropic to put some waiting music here too, but that is probably coming at some point in the future. So let's just see what it does. I will review the chat. Okay, just integrations. Here's what I've pulled together. This template these 4 placeholders. And then what you can see here is quite cool. So we have the standard placeholders, company, Paloa is clear. Lisa comes out of the transcript. And then onboarding use case false because this is a customer wanting to use us for digital sales rooms. So it says sales use case true. These properties already tailor the content in my workspace. I'm using content visibility automation, meaning I have variables set up that control the content for me, the testimonials, the demo videos, and all of that. And usually I would have to do that myself when I create a space and select the use cases. But in this case, the AI does it for me. And what I like even more, and what for me was a big unlock, is it also fills out these type of placeholders. So we have text placeholders in this template. And if you're using us for sales and you want to like create something custom, this is pretty cool. It basically has like an accordion where it says situation and then Valuecase or here YACME. And based on the transcript, it fills this text out, which is quite cool. I could not ask it to change the text and so on, or just go. And here you can see that it found, okay, there's some weirdness going on because the demo transcript probably says Valuecase instead of ACME, but I would just like keep ACME for this use case. And what I really love about Claude or ChatGPT as well is they give me like these clear questions and I can just say this, not this, and it goes through. So now it wants to create the space. I would just allow it. You can always allow it if you want to. In this case, I just allow it for this task. And this might also depend on your admin settings. That's also worth noting. If you don't have the ability to add this custom connector that I showed in the beginning, you might need to ask your admin. We usually show that in the settings. And for us, because we also have a team subscription, we had to set it up in the admin area. That depends a bit on how your Claude is configured. All right, so we are done. The Paloa digital sales room is live, built from this template, etc., etc. Now, this is the first step. The second step for me here, what is quite important is now you have a conversation with context, meaning you have all the stuff in context already. So I can ask it to also, okay, now write the meeting follow-up email, include space link. Would be even faster if I would dictate it. And this is very nice because you're building this context conversation and you can just go. You can do something similar within Valuecase, right, with our assistant. But for some of you, it might be more native to do that in Claude or ChatGPT or Copilot. And also, if you connect, for example, your Gmail here or your Outlook, you can then just send this email out. And you just do it in this one stream. And the cool thing is the space is already fully tailored through the placeholders. So I theoretically wouldn't even have to look, but I will take a look in a second. And this is how you create spaces. And if you think this further, and if you're a bit familiar with like scheduled tasks and skills, you could even over time fully automate this. So if you want, you can ask Claude now, okay, this was great, but manual, can you schedule task every day to look at new closed won deals in my CRM and create spaces for them. Now, you could, of course, go if you have HubSpot, for example, and you have our HubSpot integration, you can do this with HubSpot workflows, but this is just much more easy. And you just say to Claude, okay, I want to schedule this task, and usually it would be able to do this. So let's see what it comes up with. And if you've never worked with scheduled tasks or so, then this will be like a big unlock because you can just ask Claude to build agents, basically. The thing is, I think I have no HubSpot connected to this Claude. Let me just see. No, I have no CRM connected to this Claude, so it won't be able to do it fully, but it will find, yeah, HubSpot, your CRM isn't connected yet, which is amazing. So I can just connect it now, and it will ask me, and after I'm connected, it can schedule this task. So yeah, Karen, I will send the recording. See you soon. Thank you for joining the first 30 minutes. And now I could go, and it could also tell it which template to typically use and so on. And by this, let's just do it here. How could auto create and notify, when should it run, 9 a.m. And this is how you set up scheduled tasks in Claude, which is a really, really big unlock, I think, for us as well. And yeah, depending on if you want to create things, if you want to do reporting, both of them are great. recommend CM for influence or Claude, which one you use. We use HubSpot personally. It's fine. And we've not tried too many, to be honest. We, of course, know Salesforce because we have the automations there. But it's should be, yeah, any CRM should be actually fine. The CRM just needs to have a connector for your AI. But in general, yeah. All right. What is happening? Just checking one thing. Okay, now I can schedule the task, so it's fully run through. And I don't use a special Claude version. I think these capabilities should be in any Claude, but we have the Pro, we have the middle subscription, or the maximum, the highest subscription tier, but we don't pay. I think the 200 is like something like 80, 90 euros a month. And Graham, because you also offer a CRM, do you have in OpenCRM? Do you have a connector as well, an MCP? Are you launching that? It would be very interesting to know as well. We can include that too. Not yet, launching soon. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, let me know if that comes out. That would be very interesting to see as well. All right, so this is the scheduling of tasks. And if you want to connect about that, also let us know. We are using this all the time, and you will find this now under scheduled. I mean, now I feel like I do a bit of a Claude onboarding, but I still think this is very, very useful, right? And here you will see now the scheduled task, and you can run it now. You can pause it. You can edit it. I will pause it because I have another task that does this for me. But this is how you build automations just through natural language. So you don't have to go into an automation builder. You don't have to, do anything there. Just works for you, and just your computer needs to be turned on. It's a bit different with OpenAI. There you can just run it in the cloud. Okay, so this is creating a sales room. This is running custom reportings through Claude. I'm just checking my notes if I have told you everything relevant about the MCP. Yes, I have. Any other questions about the MCP? Any use cases you have in mind? Pop them in the chat now, and then I can stay here. Otherwise, I would go. Yeah, can the MCP embed a Google Doc into a client space? Perfect. Yeah, let's go quickly into these sorts of topics. So what the MCP currently cannot do is editing a space directly, because also from a UX perspective, that feels weird for us because you would want to see the result, right? However, especially for these like Google Meet call transcripts and so on, what you can for sure do, I will just go to that space now and show you a bit what I did here. And then we can organically also transition into the other part of the webinar. Let me share that screen. Okay, I will show you what you can do to like put custom content in. So here, this is the space it created. The only thing that's open for me, by the way, is to record a video or upload a file or so. But in how we help, for example, you see that it filled out these placeholder texts. So I have my discovery summary in here, which is very nice. You can see that it like unlocked the right content. So when I go to the blocks here, onboarding use case was false. So all of this doesn't show. Only the sales room, the sales room's references show up. Also for the clients and so on, it will be the same thing. And it only shows the right videos and so on here that are needed for this use case. And this is how you tailor content through the MCP very, very easily, right? You just create variables, and these variables do something in your template. This also gives you a ton of control. So you know already what will be changed, you know already what will be edited, and you don't really have to worry about the AI like doing something wrong there. You exactly know where things go because you put them into placeholders, and these are the placeholders that can be edited by AI. And you could do the same things, for example, to put in meeting transcripts or so. So let me go to the template and just go here. So this is the digital sales room AI first template, I called it. So you see it's situation, it's YACME. And these placeholders you can create on the dashboard here. And we added something new as well. So if you go to space property, click next, you can define these placeholders, and you could say meeting summary. And then you can add a description. We added this because of the AI. The AI will see these descriptions, and Claude can then act more tailored based on this data. Context is everything, right? So if you add a good description here, it will be much, much easier for your AI to fill it out. And then we would use text, and we would just make it required or not required in space creation. Add the summary of the latest meeting here. This could be an example. And then in your template, you would just have a block and add a media block, for example. And here you can put it in as text. So you could just go with a meeting summary, or you can also, if you're a bit more hacky like I am, you can also go here and use these things in custom embeds as well. And this allows you to do very custom things. So if you want to play with like HTML, making a very custom, a bit more hacky blocks, you can do that through these placeholders too. And these placeholders, the AI will see when it creates the workspace, it will get the description, and either it can fill it out directly, like in this case, and the situation by Valuecase could be filled out directly because the AI had all the context, or Claude will just ask you, hey, give me that context, otherwise I can't move forward, and then you will have to fill it out. So depending on how you work, these allow for like a ton of tailoring. Maybe we should even do like maybe a deep dive in the future where we show like a couple of cool use cases with these placeholders, because really imagination is the limit there. You could also have the link to the meeting recording in a placeholder and then have an iframe around it so it shows here directly. Yeah, so if you want to hack something together, then the placeholders are definitely your friend, and you can use them exactly like this to push content inside the space. We will see, like a bit depending on your feedback and how this evolves, how much editing capabilities we give the agent. For now, because we always think, okay, you have to see what you create. It's limited, as I said, but this might change in the future. And the other way, of course, to do the same, let me go to a space now. So I have this Datadog space here. The other way, of course, to work in a very similar way are our new. Okay, Phil, we should follow up on that then. Another, or maybe we can publish a couple of use cases that are a bit more advanced. We always fail to share these things, but we should probably do more. So let's move to the second big feature, which is the connectors in our AI chat. Now, I don't have so much time for this, but this is also fine because it works in a similar way as it works in Claude, basically. So our AI here in the side, this always has been available, right? It can create like pages, so you can just go and say, create a new page called test. It can create pages, it can create blocks, it can update content. And we've seen a ton of traction on this in the past couple of months. And we actually, just as a fun fact, we just changed our free trial as well. So it starts in this AI chat and it feels a bit like a vibe coding experience. And yeah, now I have the new page here. But we also added now this connectors button. And this connectors button allows you to connect the AI to your services, just like you can in Claude. And you can also add custom MCPs here too. So if you have a service like us that doesn't have an official app, you can put that in here as well and connect to your services. And then what this allows you to do is to just use the AI chat as your assistant. So instead of having 5 tabs open with Gmail, with Google Calendar, schedule a meeting, and so on, you just do it through here. So let me show that in action. I would just do a new chat to make it a bit simpler. And I would just ask it again, you have a couple connectors. What can you do with them? I would just ask it again. This is always a nice way to start it. I will also show you an interface in a second to see that better. But yeah, so it sees I have a few connected tools. I can combine them. I can like turn meeting notes into an onboarding plan, one of my favorite use cases. Draft a follow-up email from a space, also very nice. Create a meeting invite based on an agreed next steps. And these use cases are very good starting points, and you can try it out. If you want to like dive a bit deeper, you have in the connectors also this interface where you will find a couple of the tools that we build into them. And these tools are, these tools are standard tools for the calendar, for the emails. And if you have custom connectors connected, which you can do, then they will show you the tools that they have available. And what you can do, for example, is you can go in and say, find my Datadog onboarding in HubSpot. So let's say you also have HubSpot to track something, or you have the context there, so on, you want to pull those. That's now possible with an MCP like this, right? So you can see here, it found the Datadog onboarding in HubSpot, has the HubSpot link right away, and I could now also ask it to update it as well. Can you change the stage? So you can ask it to update it and really change the CRM. You can even ask it to draft notes or so. And this works across many different services. Of course, always very difficult to give you use cases that perfectly fit your workflows and how you use the platform, but just giving you some inspiration here how to use it. And For example, what you can do as well, let's see if I have my Google Drive connected. Yep. So let's see, can you find a meeting recordings? G Drive, my transcript for the meeting with Datadog. This is now, I'm not fully sure if I have one. So let's see if it finds something. I'm not sure if I have a demo transcript for this specific one inside the Google Drive. Let's see what it does. And if it doesn't find something, it's also good. But what I want to show you is what is a really cool use case that we like to use a lot is we had a meeting and then we pull in the transcript and either we put the summary in a block or we maybe customize the action plan based on it. Very typical for us to have a meeting where we talk a lot about dates, a lot about like responsibilities, and we want to create a tailored action plan. That's what we use for it. So let's see if the search yields something. If not, I will maybe just copy something out. 1 second. Usually when it's slow, it doesn't mean it's failing. Yeah, usually it just means there's a lot of tool calls it has to do. And now it finds a transcript. So sometimes also it is about patience and especially with these AI things. Now, it's so slow because my computer is, I think, because of the screen sharing, a bit overwhelmed. Usually it shouldn't come out this slow, but I have seen this with Google Drive before. So maybe it's a bit of a Google Drive quirk that we have to find. So it found the transcript and now it should be able to also distill from it if there are any changes needed to the space. I'm just very annoyed that it's now coming in this speed. Let's see if it improves. Otherwise, I will have to regroup. Okay, perfect. So it looks like the right file. Great. Includes the Datadog onboarding discovery call transcript. Perfect. That's good. That's actually a relevant example transcript. So I'm lucky here. If you want, I can now. Yep. So what you could do, Leanne, and hopefully it works faster for you, not as slow as it worked here in the test case. You could go and just say, let's add a new block here. Let's give it a second, and then I will just do this quickly manually. Turn it into an onboarding plan, very cool. Do I have to follow up, update the space based on it? Yeah, so these are all questions you can ask it now. And you could just say on test page, create a new block summarizing the meeting outcomes in 2 sentences. I would just have to wait for it to finish here. I'm just worried that my computer will go out. Let's see. Okay, giving this a try. And through this, you can just connect like a million different data points. And what I use a lot for as well is, for example, I had an onboarding meeting. We went through the plan together, and then I want to schedule a follow-up. I would just connect it to my calendar, ask it, hey, I just had a meeting with this customer, refresh the space and schedule the follow-up with the same group in a week. And it can do it. So it can go into your calendar. Another great use case, I think, is for the plans. If you have due dates in the plans, you can ask it to schedule meetings or reminders in your calendar for specific due dates. So you could ask it, for example, to create a reminder in your calendar for every last due date and every milestone, if you want to have that. And this just enables you to just keep the workflow that you like. I personally connected it to my Todoist as well. My Todoist is my to-do app. And this way I can keep the two a bit in sync and just would tell it, okay, for this key to do, create a to-do in my Todoist with a reminder, and it can do that as well. So yeah, you will have to get creative, think about it with the tools you use, and then you can for sure create very, very tailored workflows here. And we will just, yeah, it shouldn't be that slow. At least it worked, but it should be a bit faster for you. And then you can do exactly these use cases, or you can ask it to tailor the plan, which is also something I do pretty regularly, but usually it works faster for me, as I said. Okay, very good. No, I don't want to add a second block. These are the connectors. We are at the end of the webinar slot. I have a bit more time though. So any other questions I should go into, anything else? Otherwise, thank you for tuning in. This has been great, and really share your feedback. So in this case, I can just press the thumbs down and then we will get a notification and we can look into why it took so long and what issues were there. And then you can, of course, use the chat. Let us know if there's anything wrong. If you have any problems, then always just write in the chat and we are able to see it, yeah, and if you have the thumbs down or thumbs up on the chat, we can even look a bit deeper. So thanks a lot for tuning in. Any other questions? Put them in the chat. Otherwise, I will just end this call in a couple of minutes and see you soon. Bye-bye.